Habari ya jioni, watazamaji wenzangu, habari ya jioni Miguda.
Niko vyema. Jioni yangu niko vizuri sana, nashukuru Mungu. Labda kwako.
Mimi niko vizuri, sijaona mabaya. Jioni naona imetupeleka vizuri sana. Unajua saa zingine pia inafika ile harakati ya kutafuta kazi, ama baada ya kufanya kazi unakuja unapumzika, unaona. So kwa hiyo mimi nasema jioni sijaona mabaya vile. Mimi namshukuru Mungu. Weekend yako ilikuwa aje?
Sema tu weekend yangu nimekuwa na kazi nyingi sana. Juu tulikuwa na mambo na makambi, unaelewa tu katika msimu wa makambi. Katika hii mwezi wa Agosti huwa tunakuwa na makambi. Sasa tulianza tu na bado niko na kama 3 zinaningoja. Sasa tumekuwa na shughuli hapa na pale ya kanisani, na vile vile pia tumetembelea marafiki wengine waliofiwa. Sasa ni jukumu la, wanasemanga ati akufae kwa dhiki ndiye rafiki. Sasa ni jukumu lako kama rafiki kutembelea rafiki yako mwenye amefiwa. Sasa hivyo ndivyo mambo imekuwa katika weekend wangu.
Okay, asante sana. Unajua jana watoto wa Nyumbani Stars walicheza jana, walipata ushindi mkubwa, na tunawapa hongera timu ya taifa, that is Harambee Stars, kwa kazi mzuri waliofanya. Na rais pia aliahidi kwamba kila mmoja wa wachezaji atapata milioni 1. Sijui kama pesa imeingia katika account zao, ama kama una habari yoyote kuhusu ile pesa ambayo rais aliwaahidi.
Ni ukweli jana watoto wetu wa Harambee Stars walicheza na wale batoto ba Kongo. Na ilikuwa mechi nzuri sana, lakini ingawa tu kucheza vilivyo, lakini tulipata ushindi. Lakini kabla ya mchezo rais mwenyewe aliahidi ya kwamba kila mchezo wakishinda wanapata milioni 1, na kila mchezo kama wamepiga draw wanapata 500,000 kila mchezaji. Sasa walipiga mahesabu zao, wakasema hizo games zote zikisha mpaka finale zinaweza kuwa wanapata milioni kama 9, milioni 90. Sasa rais alisema atazipiga 93, sasa milioni 600 atapeana katika timu. Na vile vile unapata yule aliyekuwa gavana wa Nairobi Mbuvi Sonko pia aliahidi ya kwamba ataongezea rais milioni 400. Sasa kwa jumla tukiibuka washindi katika mchezo wa CHAN, wachezaji wetu wenda kupata bilioni 1. Lakini sasa kwa saizi walifaa kupata milioni 40 kwa mchezo ya jana juu walishinda kutoka kwa rais. Rais alisema ya kwamba leo hii yule rais wa FKF anafaa kumtembelea na kumpatia hiyo pesa na kuwapatia wachezaji. Sasa hiyo ni tu kwa sasa, mpaka sasa sijapata habari, siwezi sema kwamba wamepokea mojapokea.
Okay, asante sana. Naona ndugu yangu Barak pia ameingia. Kabla kumpatia nafasi ile azungumuze na sisi ama atusalimie, unajua ukiangalia pale na Tanzania pia waliwaidiwa hivyo. Lakini wakati ambapo walimaliza mchezo wao ama mchuano wao, wakaenda pale kupumzika, rais kupitia waziri fulani walipatiwa pesa zao taslim. Unajua Tanzania walipatiwa wakatoka nayo. Uliona hii habari?
Niliona hiyo habari, ndiposa nasema sisi tulijua kwamba watapewa hiyo siku. Na pia ni vizuri kama walikuwa wanapatiwa, kama tunaona juu hiyo ni ahadi ambayo aliahidi wachezaji, kama wananchi walikuwa wanasikiza. Sasa si sema tuwajapatiwa ama wapatiwa, pengine kuna makubaliano kati ya wachezaji na rais ya kwamba wawekewe katika account zao, ama kuna makubaliano ya kwamba wangoje kwanza waone kama watapatiwa kwa jumla ile wakati watatolewa katika mchuano. Pengine kuna makubaliano mpya na sijapata. Sasa mpaka sasa hii tutangoja tu kutoka kwa wachezaji kama wamepata ama hawajapata, lakini vizuri kama wamepatiwa tu cash watu wakiona.
Okay, asante sana ndugu yangu Baraka, habari gani?
Salama sana ndugu yangu Ben na Miguda, mko vipi?
Tuko vyema. Weekend yako ilikuwa vipi?
Weekend imekuwa tu hivi hivi tu lakini ilikuwa bomba kidogo kwa sababu ya timu yetu ya Harambee Stars kushinda.
Walipatia nchi tabasamu na kusherekea. Unajua hakuna kitu kizuri kama nchi wanasherekea kwa umoja. Kama tuliona jana, kama inawezekana kuwa hata wakati wa siasa zetu, baada ya kumaliza siasa tunakuja tunawachana na mambo za siasa, tunakuwa kama nchi moja, inaweza kuwa ni kitu kizuri sana.
Inaweza kuwa kitu kizuri sana. Ingawaji kulingana na vile niliona kwa Kenya tuko chini sana kwa kiuzalendo. Ukiangalia jinsi hata kama ungeangalia mtandao jana, kuna hata Wakenya wengine walikuwa wanatakia DRC ushindi. Unashangaa uzalendo wetu ulienda wapi jamani? Kwa sababu ya sababu za kisiasa unapata chuki tu imekuwa mpaka mtu anachukia nchi yake mwenyewe. Watu wanakosa kutambua kwamba nchi ni kubwa kuliko individuals. Nchi ni kubwa kuliko watu binafsi. So kama nchi, jana Harambee Stars ikicheza inabeba jina ya nchi, haibebi jina ya mtu binafsi. Ile ushindi ambao Kenya ilipata jana ilikuwa ni ushindi wa nchi, sio ushindi wa mtu binafsi. Kwa hivyo Wakenya inafaa wajiulize maswali sana ikifika mambo ya uzalendo, kwa sababu siasa imefanya kuna watu ambao wamepoteza ile ari yao ya uzalendo, na si jambo ukilinganisha na taifa ta Tanzania ama hata Uganda. Utaona kwamba hizi taifa la Uganda, taifa la Tanzania wako na uzalendo sana kuliko sisi wa Kenya. Kwa hivyo ni changamoto kwa wale ambao walikuwa wanatakia Jamhuri ya Demokrasia ya Kongo ushindi sana. Ni changamoto kubwa sana kwao.
Unadhani ni jambo gani labda inafika mpaka mahali Mkenya asili ana kuja kutokuwa na uzalendo kwa nchi yake sana sana, mpaka inafika mahali unasema kwamba labda nchi ambayo tunachuana nayo wapate ushindi? Unadhani inafika pali gani? Ama tuseme kwamba labda uko na utofauti ya kisiasa na mafikra na maviongozi ndio inafanya unawacha uzalendo wako?
Kimsingi ni chuki tu. Kwa sasa sioni kama kuna jambo la kimsingi la kufanya mtu achukie nchi yake. Ni chuki tu ya kuchukia viongozi binafsi. Kwa sababu unaona kuna wale walikuwa wanangojea sana Harambee Stars jana ishindwe, ndio waanze kusema ni kwa sababu Raila na Ruto walikuwa pale ndio maana wakashindwa. Wameleta ile wanaita swara. Wameleta bahati mbaya. Yaani wanahusisha watu na bahati mbaya. Hawaoni ya kwamba licha ya kwamba Harambee kushindwa, hata liwe nani ama yuna hayuko pale ama yuko pale, ni taifa letu limeshindwa, sio wale wa jamaa wameshindwa. Kwa hivyo ni inafaa watu people should look beyond these leaders. People should value their country. People should value their nationality, kwa sababu uliona hata jana niliona wakimbizi wanahojiwa kutoka kule Kakuma, wamekuja kuona wakimbizi kutoka Kongo wako wanaishi Kenya, lakini wanakuja kushabikia nchi yao ya Kongo. Licha kwamba hao ni wanaishi Kenya kama wakimbizi, lakini wanashabikia nchi yao kwa sababu ya uzalendo. Unabeba bendera ya nchi yako licha ya kwamba mko na tofauti za kisiasa, mko na tofauti gani na nini. Nchi ni kubwa kuliko mtu yoyote binafsi, awe ni rais, awe ni nani, awe ni nani. Nchi ni kubwa na lazima Wakenya wagundue kwamba uzalendo, wewe uko nje ya nchi, uko nje ya nchi, unawaambia watu umuhimu wa hiyo passport ambayo unabeba ya Kenya, vile how that document is vital. Unajua kuna watu wanacheza tu, ukivuka mipaka ya nchi yako ndio utagundua kwamba kweli nchi yako ni kitu ya maana sana, kwa sababu
endelea.
Kwa sababu kule nje ile sifa ambayo iko kwa nchi yako ndio unabeba kwa kichwa yako. Kwa hivyo unafaa kuwa namba moja ambassador, ambassador itwaje? Unafaa kuwa balozi kwa kila kitu ambayo unafanya, uwe pale nje ama uwe hapa ndani, lazima tubebe jina la nchi yetu. Good evening, Gypsy Corner. How are you?
Naona Gypsy Corner leo amekusifia sana. Ni kwamba anajua kwamba umekuwa vizuri katika lugha ya Kiswahili. Na wacha sasa nikuulize, ukipata mtu anawacha uzalendo wake na labda anashabikia tuseme kwamba nchi nyingine, na unapata kwamba labda anaweza fanya hivyo kulingana na jinsi ambavyo hata hao wenyewe wanaona kwamba wale ambao wako katika uongozi hawajatendea haki nchi yao, na jambo la kufanya hivyo ni kama kuambia kwamba ama kutuma ujumbe kwa wale ambao wako katika uongozi kwamba jinsi mnazoendesha nchi si vyema, ndio maana mimi nafanya hivi. Sasa inafaa nyinyi mrekebishe, kwa sababu hiyo inaweza kuwa ni ujumbe.
Hapana, sikubaliana na hilo wazo. Kwa sababu gani? Beno, wewe angalia, wacha nikupatie mfano kadhaa. Uganda, nchi yetu jirani hapa, umekuwa na rais mmoja kutoka 1986 ambayo amefanya mambo mazuri na akafanya mambo mabaya. Na ukienda kule Uganda unaona vile wana handle, vile wanadhibiti wale ambao wanajaribu kuandamana, sio wale wanaandamana, wale ambao wanajaribu kuandamana. Unaona vile wamedhibiti upinzani, unaona vile DJ amekaribu kufia kwenye gerezani, anahukumiwa kwenye koti la kijeshi. Lakini ukienda Uganda, siku ile Uganda Cranes iko na mechi, ni kama ni sikukuu kule. Hakuna hata kwenda kazini. Kampala kwote ni kila mtu ni Uganda Cranes. Hawaangalii Museveni kama kikwazo ama kama kiongozi mbaya. Wanaangalia timu yetu inacheza. Unakumbuka wakati ule Nigeria Super Eagles ilishinda lile kombe la Olympic. Ilikuwa ni mwaka 1996. Kiongozi wao alikuwa ni Samia Bacha. Angalia historia ya Samia Bacha. Alikuwa kiongozi wa aina gani? Na vile alikuwa na handle watu kutoka kule Nigeria. Na wakati huo ndio wa Nigeria walikuwa na support timu yao mpaka ikashinda, mpaka ikaenda 1998 World Cup, ikaenda kwa timu kama zile za Hispania kule, ikachapa mpaka ikaenda mpaka second round. Kwa hivyo lazima tujue kutofautisha tofauti zetu na viongozi wetu za kisiasa na kusimama na nchi yetu kama wazalendo. Kuna nchi mingi ambao wako na viongozi wabaya sana, lakini ikifika ni kwa support mtu wao, nchi yao, wanaweka tofauti zao kando na wana support nchi yao, kwa sababu ni jukumu la kila mwananchi. Wewe huwezi kuwa unabeba passport ya Kenya, unabeba kitambulisho cha Kenya na unachukia Kenya. Wewe basi huelewi maana ya hiyo passport ama hiyo kitambulisho ambayo unabeba. Hiyo lazima usimame, na hata sasa ile unaenda kwa barabara kuandamana, kwa sababu unaandamana ukuwe na nchi mzuri. Lakini huwezi kuwa unaandamana ukuwe na nchi mzuri, na wakati huo nchi inaposimama kushindana na nchi zingine unapinga nchi yako. That kind of contradiction is not good at all.
Baraka, asante sana kwa maoni yako, na hii sasa ni jambo tunawarai wa Kenya wote kwamba ikifika hapo kwa uzalendo lazima nchi kuwe mbele, kwa sababu nchi ni kubwa kuliko viongozi ambao sisi tunao, kwa sababu viongozi watakuwepo na watakuwepo tu kwa muda tu. Kwa sababu ukiangalia hata historia ya nchi tumekuwa na maviongozi wengi ambapo wengi wao kwa saizi hawako na sisi, washatengulia mbele za haki na bado wamewacha nchi. So inamaanisha kwamba nchi itadumu milele, lakini maviongozi nao watakuwa tu na muda wao ikiisha pia watatoroka ama wataenda ama tutawasahau. watabaki tu kama kumbukumbu katika mioyo zetu, ama watabaki kumbukumbu katika nchi tutakuwa tunazisoma kwa historia. Thank you so much, Barack, for joining in. Today is a Monday. I know so many people are Monday is not usually a very good day because people are coming from weekend, and also there's also a win that the Kenya had. But Barack, there's a topic we want to discuss here. I know it has always been one of the topics for almost 2 weeks, about the ODM, Sifuna, and the president allies. Again, they're still maintaining that kama haitaja tutajaza. So they've maintained that kauli. I mean, like, wamekuwa na hiyo kauli kwamba kama haitajaa tutajaza, na hii ni mambo ya uchaguzi. As you know, something that I would want to remind especially the leaders, those who say that okay, kama haitajaa itajaza, the 2-term and 1-term, those narratives, when you look at the constitution, they are all correct, because our constitution only says that the president or any other leader will go for 2 terms, but it doesn't specify whether you will go 2 terms consecutively. You can go 1 term, then lose the election, then go repackage yourself, come again and contest. If you win, that will be your 2nd term. That is what is there. You can also go for the 1st term, do your work very well, then when you go for a re-election, the people will elect you. Yeah. So that is what is there. So I think as leaders, there are some of the things that you are not kind of like being very, very truthful to Kenyans. Yeah. Let the Kenyan people decide whether they decide that they're going to elect President William Ruto. Yes, the Kenya has that. But if in the process of voting, it ended up that President William Ruto might have, maybe if he loses, there's no need kujaza. Wacha tu aende, then atakuja baadaye. Lakini akifanya kazi vizuri, alafu Wakenya wataamua wampatie. Si jukumu lako kama mwanasiasa kusema hivyo, kutumia jambo kama hilo. So that is something that we also need to talk about, and what is the way forward, and what the message are they sending to Kenyans who are the voters. And now let's come to Sifuna. Barack. Sifuna had an event in Saboti, and there are so many things that Sifuna said that he will resign. Yeah, if ODM decide, or ODM has a resolution that they are going to support President William Ruto for 2027. And he said this. He said that he is inviting his brother, Jared Olo, to come and read those resolutions. He said that he will not do that. And I think this one, he was answering what Atandi said about Jared Olo being qualified to be the SG, being due to the fact that he has gone to school, especially in international schools, US and America. So that one also was asking. But now let's come to the real issue. When you hear those comments by Sifuna, and he was very courageous, what does it mean to you, Mr. Barack?
Thank you, Bwana Ben. I think I listened to Sifuna, and I think he was very much trying to excite the crowd that was there also. Remember, this was Saboti constituency in Trans Nzoia County. And I think as a matter of principle, leadership also sometimes comes with a responsibility. If maybe your political parties or whatever decide to do something that you don't believe in, I think he has all the rights to associate himself with that political party, because we have that freedom of association. And he cannot also stand on the way of ODM as a political party to associate themselves with whoever, because that, I think sometimes we say that we are Democrats, but we don't really understand the principles of democracy. When they also say that you have the freedom of association, it means that you as an individual you have that freedom to join any political party or not to join any political parties without being coerced by anybody or by any entity. And political parties also being political actors, they are very important institutions in any democratic society. Therefore, it is very important to understand that political parties have that freedom to associate themselves with any other entity that they deem fit without being coerced by any individual or by any political actor. So the way Sifuna has a right to associate himself with either way or not to associate himself, the same way that ODM as a political party, as a political entity, has that right. Therefore, if he does not believe in supporting Ruto for his second term as an individual, and ODM as an entity decide that they are going to rally behind President Ruto for his second term, then he has the right to resign and associate himself with any entity that he believes maybe are aligning with his principles. That's fine. That's fine. That's a political right, and also it's a democratic right. But now standing on the way, saying that that if you do this, I do this, I think that is now going against his own principle. Because if I have a right, you also have a right, and my rights also cannot supersede your right. Yeah, and I think as Kenyans we need to have a very strong political institutions, political parties, because political parties are the institutions that nurture democracy. They are the ones that ensure that democracy is preserved and is protected within a society. So I think that Sifuna is fighting so hard to be removed from that position so that he can build political mileage out of that. And I think that is what he's really trying so hard. And I think so far the owner of ODM has not decided to remove him. But I think that the way he's going, it will reach a point that the owner of the ODM will have no other choice but just to remove him. And he should understand that political parties should be there even beyond our own existence, because institutions should be built not based on individual capacity, but based on posterity, so that it serves the current generation and even the coming generation. So associating political parties or positions with individuals and assuming that without this individual, this position cannot exist or this institution cannot exist, I think that is not getting it right. We should build our institutions, political parties included, that they can even exist, that they can exist beyond even this generation, so that we can reach our democracy. Yeah.
Okay, I will come back to you, because maybe before I invite Miguda, you've talked about democracy, and when you're looking at democracy, because when we look at the steps that ODM has taken, from the look of things, ODM has decided that they're going to work with the government. As even currently, the ODM is working with the government. That is something that we know, and they've signed a memorandum of understanding. But if you feel as a Secretary General, like what the ODM is doing is not something that you like, would you be could you be courageous enough to take that step and say, okay, I'm stepping down from the Secretary General position, because this is a one of the very sensitive offices in the party, and you don't agree with it, because you will be reading these resolutions and attending those meetings, especially when it comes to how ODM will work with UDA, But if you feel you cannot work or you will not support, but you are working with them anyway, why then can you take that bold step and say, you know what, due to the respect I have for the party and the party organs and that democracy that requires me as a person that, okay, I'm not aligned or I'm not in terms with how this is working, let me resign and become just an ordinary member of ODM, but do not hold any office in the party?
I don't think Sifuna has any respect for ODM. He has respect for himself. And that is why you see he's trying so hard to be chased, to be removed from that position, so that he can use that for his own political gain. And his politicians, especially in Kenya, you need to understand your constituency. those who elected you, what is their feeling? What is their need? Because Sifuna was elected in Nairobi. Yesterday, let me just use the example. Yesterday, the CAF was, Harambee Stars was playing their first match in CAF for the first time in Nairobi. And as Nairobi senator, he was missing in action. And remember, Nairobi was hosting CHAN for the first time. And as the representative of Nairobi, I think it would have been prudent for him to be there and just in solidarity with the people of Nairobi and also the people of Kenya at large. But he decided to go and do politics in Trans Nzoia County. So I think as a leader, sometimes you need to understand your electorate, your constituency. Because sometimes you might be so determined to please a constituency that is not yours. Because right now the most romantic thing in politics in Kenya right now is to say Ruto is one term, Ruto must go, and
okay. Did I lose Mr. Barak? Okay, thank you so much. I lost Mr. Barak. Migoda, let me invite you on the same. When you look at Sifuna, the courage that Sifuna had, and even giving ultimatums and say that if they or if the ODM resolve that they're going to support Ruto 2027, I'm going to resign and I will not read that resolution. What is your take on him?
First, allow me to record my greetings to our viewer Gypsy Corner, the comment section, and also to say a lot of gratitude from Gypsy Corner, because when I was fighting for my life, actually Gypsy Corner came through and rescue part of me, and I can say that, where we are currently, there's an outbreak whereby there's a lot of issues, and I was a victim. I was affected or infected. Therefore, I think it is in order to say a big thank you, and may good God continue blessing you abundantly. And I really appreciate for what I got from you when I was fighting for my life. Now I'm okay, but it was an outbreak, so I think with time I'll get better. But asante sana, Brother Benson. I think after I've recorded my gratitude to Gypsy Corner, not to respond to your question.
Yeah.
First, I would like also to state that from my point of view, is like the SG for ODM, Sifuna, is on his way out of the party. And there's two ways you can get out. Maybe through resignation or to be kicked out. And when you are kicked out, you can be sympathized with the constituents. But when you resign by yourself, they will tell you that you left by yourself. No one chased you. So it was your own decision to do so. The reason why I can say is ready to get out, because like what he said, there have been confrontation within the party. There are section of people who are saying that if you go, we have enough people who can take the role. And also it's just something that, okay, it doesn't matter. I can go as well, because if you got enough people who can take up my role, then I am ready to leave. In my view, I believe that the SG for ODM maybe is on his way out of the party. And one of the reasons you have to state clearly, because to him, he's having that right of expression and that freedom to express himself. And he has expressed himself to that extent. And he has said what he must say. And it's up to you people now to decide whether to kick him out or to retain him. But retaining him under condition that there's no way you are going to support Kasongo. That is what he has given them, the condition that you can either kick me out if you're pushing support Kasongo. But if you go to support Kasongo, then I'll quit the party. So it can only be retained under condition. So he has put a trap that I cannot remain in ODM under one condition, that we are going to front a presidential candidate. Without that, then bye ODM. So I think that is what is happening within the party.
Okay, thank you so much, Miguda. You know, when you're talking about making those conditions, but now let's put ourselves in, especially in Sifuna's shoes, because the reason why Sifuna is not supporting the president, he has given his reasons why. Some of them being about talking about the abduction, talking about killing of the young Gen Zs, talking about even the education. So he has been quoting several. So if you look at the reasons why, the reason he's giving, you know, do you feel that they are worth it not to support?
That's why I told you that in my view,
there
is a condition. The condition part of it is when we delve into it, it is worth for him. That's why I say that he's having freedom of expression. So whenever he's expressing himself, is within the limits of the Constitution. And he has an opinion to differ the position of the people. That as for me, as Sifuna, based on 1, 2, 3, I'm not supporting Kasongo. And based on those issues, they are factual to a certain extent. That's why it's not supporting. But on the other hand, also, we can say that it can be politically castigated because you understand that there was a time he said that even if Raila support William Ruto, I will not vote for William Ruto on national television. So it can be a justification that even if you people have made a decision to go to Kasongo, I'll not go to Kasongo to justify my statement of the mainstream media that I am a man of principle, whereby I don't change my mind. I speak once. That one can be justifiable. But on the other hand, you find out that we cannot castigate him that he is doing the wrong things, because based on the things he has expressed, if you look at the things like he talked about extrajudicial killings, abductions, those are reality in this government. They have happened. But based on my first point, that based on the views of Sifuna, getting out of ODM under condition is making condition that I can only retain my seat unless you don't support Kasongo. But if you support Kasongo, I'm going, and that's the condition I placed to you people. With he has placed the conditions, supporting the condition with some facts that I'm not only speaking my mind, but based on these things, I'm not going to do this unless you persuade me. So that's why I brought the issue of conditions, which have been supported by some facts behind it.
Okay, thank you so much, Makobura. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening. I'm doing good. Nashukuru. Labda nyinyi?
Tuko vyema. Siku yako imekuwa vipi? Makobura, siku yako
imekuwa vyema, nashukuru. Sioni mabaya. Sijui kama unanisikiza
vizuri sana.
I'm okay. Nawaona na wasalimu wote, akiwemo Jipsaikona, Shi Mariam, na wengine ambao wanatutazama.
Okay, asante sana.
Kama au pia naona Barak na Miguda na wasalimu pia.
Okay, asante sana kwa hayo ndugu yangu. Tunakukaribisha kwa kipindi leo hii. Today we are just having a conversation especially on Sifuna and the ODM, because Sifuna yesterday gave a statement, and some people are feeling that that was a threat, especially to the ODM party and his leader. When you look at Sifuna and a group of the younger MPs who are coming from Western Kenya, do you see these somebody behind what is happening, especially for Sifuna to push that agenda and the way he was talking, so that if he exits, there's a place that is going to land?
Okay. What I can say about Sifuna, I think Sifuna and his colleagues or his friends, I think they're still young politically. They're still in their youthful years of politics. And as a young person, you sometimes have to secure your future when your political future, especially when you think or you believe that the vehicle that you're using is not taking you to the right way. So I think that is what Sifuna and his team are seeing, that the vehicle they are currently in, ODM supporting the president, is making the party unpopular. And so from their reactions and their comments, they are finding their own way. And I think that can be confirmed by, if you watched or if you saw what was happening in that particular event, you saw that there's walikuwa na beba mahindi nani, mahindi hiyo inaitwa aje, sijui vile inaitwa kwa Kiswahili. That is a sign that they have already even come up with a symbol for that political party. And they're simply waiting for the next move. The next move probably is them being exited. Remember, if you're also removed directly, it comes with some sympathy votes, and the people might sometimes give you a chance. You know, Kenyans are nice people. When you've gone through difficult things, they will always come to your back, and they will always ensure that you don't feel neglected or left away. So I think that it's what they're still waiting. But I also think this is my thinking, that I think ODM is not making the right moves, because from where I sit, I'm seeing them losing quite a number of young youthful leaders. And the truth of the matter is that the likes of Sifuna, the likes of Babu Owino, the likes of Member of Parliament, what is his name? I'm forgetting.
Caleb Amisi.
Where they were. Caleb Amisi. I think they are young, vibrant leaders. They have future. Their future is bright. And the most important thing would be for ODM to maintain and to guide them on their political way. In a similar way, I've seen Baba lately working with this young gentleman called Marco Ure. So I think it's a political disaster if Baba is grooming the young man and is leaving the ones that he has groomed, the ones that currently has power and can stand on their own, to support him and to also have stands which can support his moves.
Okay.
That is what I can say.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll talk about that, because yesterday he has to go through VVIP, presidential VVIP. Those such like opportunity comes, you don't get them easily. You know, he was lucky to go through that VVIP. Barak, when you look at especially Sifuna and the Western leaders, just in case, what impact is Sifuna exiting ODM will create on the party? That is one. Then secondly, how can Sifuna learn from playbook of President William Ruto? Because remember, President William Ruto especially is one of the leaders who left ODM and ended up still remaining relevant in his politics until today. He's the president, remember. So what can Sifuna learn, especially from the playbook of President William Ruto?
Thank you, Mark. I think comparing Sifuna and President Ruto exit from ODM It's like day and night.
Yeah.
Because Ruto had a political constituency, that is the Kalenjin vote, that he delivered to ODM 100% in 2007. And that gave him a huge bargaining platform, even when they were negotiating in the Kofi Annan-led team.
Yeah.
And remember, he played a critical role in that team, even though the team was led by Musalia then, but Ruto was more vibrant and more radical part of that team. And the result that the outcome of that team was credited to Ruto. And when Raila Odinga decided to support the ICC cases, and it was seen as a betrayal, because people saw how Ruto fought so hard for him during 2007, 2008, and remember, Ruto had a legitimate reason to differ with Odinga during that time.
Yeah.
And when Ruto felt that they could no longer agree as a matter of principle, he decamped from ODM and formed his own political party, URP. And all the elected leaders from the Kalenjin nation decamped with him. And remember, Ruto worked so hard to get influence in among the pastoralist community in the northern Kenya, counties like Tana River County. He had the influence there, and some parts of coast also, upper coast region. So that really gave Ruto a bargaining platform. And when 2013 election came, URP garnered so many votes, and he had a good number of members of parliament. That is something that I don't think Sifuna can do, because number one, where is Sifuna's political constituency? He was elected in Nairobi as a senator, courtesy of ODM. And when he goes to Bungoma, Kandui, where he comes from, is he able to convince those people to elected leaders? If he resigned from ODM today and maybe forms a maize political party, or the way my co-panel is putting it, or a different political party, will he convince a member of parliament from Kandui to decamp with him? Will he even convince any member of parliament from Nairobi to decamp with him? And leave alone members of parliament, even MCS, will they follow him to that political party? So if he does not have the courage to resign from SG, can he have the courage to resign from Senate and say, okay, I don't believe in this political party anymore. I am coming as an independent candidate, or with my own political, because if you want to lead people, you must have a vehicle where you are going to lead them from. You cannot just lead them as an independent candidate. You must have your own political party and see how many people are going to resign from their own to join that political party. And when election come, you can evaluate to see how many people have been elected through your political party. That is how you test your popularity, and that is how you also shape your leadership in terms of being a political leader. It has happened before. Ruto, you just say Ruto playbook. Uhuru also did the same when he resigned from KANU as the chair and he formed TNA. Raila did the same when he resigned from Ford Kenya and formed his NDP. And from NDP to KANU, LDP, ODM. So we've seen leaders resigning, forming their own. Even Ababu Namwamba resigned from ODM and formed. He joined LDP, Labour Party, and he became friends with was this Professor Julia Ojambo, but he never made it to Parliament, and he has been surviving on appointments here and there. So sometimes you must evaluate as a political leader. Just look at your constituency and look at how influential you are. Sometimes you might be talking too much and you get a lot of reactions on social media, but that does translate to actual political leadership, because political leadership is so dynamic. And if you know how far you can go, just resign from your post, form your own political parties, and wait and see how many people are you going to attract in that political outfit.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe somebody would argue that what he's pushing for, especially, and the constituents that he's looking for, especially Nairobi. We are looking at the Gen Z because, like, you know, Gen Z is one of the constituents that right now each and every politician, especially in the Cosmo areas like Nairobi, you know, are looking for, and like they tend to speak what they're saying, you know, like what are the Gen Z wants, and that is what I'm going with. And they believe that with their numbers or with their numerical power, even if I shift allegiance, you know, then I might end up being elected again.
That is one way of looking at it, but I usually say here, I think I've said this more than several times. Gen Z is just an age group, and this age group is in different political parties. It's in different regions in this country. They are not just, it is not a constituency of its own. Yeah, that they exist in Nairobi, or they exist in Mombasa, or they exist in Nyeri, or they exist across the country. Because people who are born between 1997 until 2012, they are all over the country, and they support different political outfits. They don't just support one person, and they cannot support one person. You just give an example here of Marco Ure, who was seen yesterday passing through the VVIP presidential gate by Raila Odinga. That is one of the people who are fronting themselves as leaders of Gen Z. Who is he supporting right now? He's being he's following Raila Odinga everywhere he's going, and that's why I'm saying someone should not have this illusion or imagination that there's a constituency somewhere that are waiting to vote for him because he's supporting maybe an idea that he thinks is so popular. This age group cuts across the board. They are found across the country, and I can assure you they will vote either way. They will vote, others will vote this direction, others will vote for this direction, because they have, in fact, they have not come out clearly for up to now. There is no political parties that can claim ownership of Gen Z. The number two, there is no candidate that has been supported fully by 100% the people who fall in that age group, because we have seen even this age group going to visit ODM. Others are in UDA, others are supporting Matiang'i, others are supporting Maraga, others are supporting whichever. So they cut across the board. So having that illusion that let me just be so mouthy, or let me just be so rigid because I'm pleasing an imaginary voting bloc, and now hoping that they will vote for you, I think that is not being strategic as a politician. As a politician, you have your voting, you have your constituency. As a politician, you can look at the voting patterns previous, they are public from 2022, from 2022 to up 1992 when multi-party started. So you can look how people have been voting, and maybe from there you can strategize. But believe having a rigid stand that you believe that some people are somewhere waiting to vote for you, I think you might end up being surprised in 2027. That is, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And now let's look at this, especially when it comes to what Sifuna is saying. Just in case if ODM decides to support the presidency of President William Ruto, and we are looking at especially the ODM fan base that is for Miguda, I just want you to know, how will this one especially assist the strength of ODM, especially when it comes to election, in terms of members of parliament and delivering the votes for the presidency?
There is a lot of things that are going to happen if ODM decides to support William Ruto. But let me also put it very clear that even from my own analysis and my own intel, I believe that ODM are going to support William Ruto. You know, there are so many organs of ODM, and the particular organ which there is a wing for people like Opiyo Wandayi, John Mbadi, people like Samuel Atandi, you heard what Atandi said. We are now grabbing so that we can go to defeat our opponents in the next election. I think those people are very close to Oburu Odinga to understand that they are giving him instruction to give to his brother. So to my view, they are going to support this. How they're going to persuade Raila to support William Ruto. This how. So in case that they support to William Ruto as the party, now the ODM decided to support William Ruto. The wings of people like Sifuna, to me, might find their ways in the other camp. So it's gonna be a division. So when it comes to the issue of elections, how it's gonna affect the presidential election? First, there's an order that whenever you go to ODM zone and you are the empowerment team, you have to sing 2 term. And that's why you saw people like Kindiki. They were saying the governor for Migori is 2 term. And also the ODM people, when they go to the UDA zone, they sing 2 term. So in their own thinking, they can do zoning, whereby the ODM zone should be left for the ODM people and the UDM zone should be left for the UDA people. But as they are doing zoning, there's how electorates, like I've said, ODM can do all tricks. They can decide to let people to go for nominations, universal suffrage. But as you go for the universal suffrage, they'll bring their gadget, the one they used previously. And that gadget has already been programmed. So you just walk into a polling station and remember, the people who are participating in the primaries are live members of ODM. Someone like Marco Bura cannot participate because when he will go there, the first thing they will verify if he's a member. So he will not participate. And those members will participate, but remember the machine is programmed. So what the machine will produce, that is the leader. What the machine will generate, that's the leader. They can decide to generate the 2 terms. That thing worked effectively previously. And I can give one example. I usually give that example. Migori County, when the machine wanted Denita Gati, people voted for Fatuma Mohammed, overwhelmed, but Gati won at the production of the result. So later, Fatuma came with independent and defeated Gati. So that's one example. There are so many which happen, I think, across people knows. Even in Marco Bura's constituency, in Nyakach, the runners-up won the election, but the current one was programmed. So it happens. They can decide that let us use our gadget for primaries. And you cannot control party nomination as a member. They can decide to do their direct tickets. They can decide to use that machine. They can also decide to do whatever they want to do, but there's no way you can control how party are going to do their nominations. And remember, once those people have those tickets, they are very popular. But there's a problem where I wanted to have a very different opinion. The problem is, people usually say that, okay, because you have decided for us, you wanted people to assist you. Why should we wake up in the morning to vote? For what? Already you have decided for us a governor. Because once you have taken those regions, you understand, automatically you're going to be elected. You have decided for us a governor, area MP, area MCA, women rep, senator. So we don't need to vote because already you have decided for us. That's why I was encouraging competition, in my view. For instance, if you allow people to compete, that we can have even 2 gubernatorial. For instance, let me give you an example. Homa Bay County and Migori County. If you allow Wanga to compete with an UDA, for instance, the UDA supporters for that governor will wake up in the morning and the ODM supporters. So, because obviously all of them are going to vote for William Ruto. So why do you decide for them that this is your candidate? You will let other people not wake up in the morning to vote for William Ruto. So that's why we're telling them, if you allow people to compete, everybody to come on the board. Do not decide for people. So that when the voting time comes, people can wake up in the morning And when we work, we can differ in gubernatorial, whereby I have my candidate, you have your candidate, but our presidential is one. That one is very possible. But if you have decided for me, okay, I've given you direct ticket, you're the governor of Nairobi County. So why should I wake up to vote and my candidate is not contesting? So I just let it go. So we encourage them that as they decide on way forward, because we can't decide for them, that is their discretion to decide whatever they want to be the nomination. But it's very important to allow people to compete, not to decide for people who should lead them.
So when you talk about if you allow, or there's that manufacturing of a candidate, whatever the case you want to put it, and we are looking at now the suffrage that is going to happen, because like it might be believed that, okay, if this one happened, maybe the deputy or the running mate might come from ODM. But how will this one have effect on the presidency of President William Ruto, especially when it comes to voting? Will this one, for example, this is how I was looking at it. I was looking at for the candidature of the president, and you look at the ODM, the fan base of ODM will scatter their votes, which means when it comes to the presidency, they may not only all of them might vote for President William Ruto, but like they can decide to vote for other presidential candidates. So do you see that scenario happening? In that now their votes are going to be scattered, especially when it comes to the presidential votes?
I don't believe it's gonna be scattered, because remember, when previously Raila contested, there are several people who never turn out to vote.
Yeah.
But if you take your sample, they will tell you that si alishatuchagulia viongozi, sasa watu waende wakae naye huko juu, mimi mtu wangu alikatazwa. Such things, one of the reasons, not that is the entire reason. Then let me give you one constituency. For instance, if you go to Suba North, and we have Millie Odhiambo as the ODM candidate for MP, and we have Silas Tekakimba as the UDA candidate. Remember, we have one presidential candidate, William Ruto, but UDA is for William Ruto, audience for Raila. These people are working together. If you go to Suba North and said, okay, here Suba North, it is an ODM zone, there's no competition, Millie Odhiambo, this direct ticket, and we, the UDA people, we are not going to fill any candidate in Suba North. Now you find out that the Jakakimba and allies are not going to turn out to vote because the candidate has not been properly. So these votes were supposed to be for William Ruto. But if you allow all of them to contest Millie and Jakakimba, the Millie base will wake up in the morning, the Jakakimba base will wake up. So at the end of the day, William Ruto gonna get the entire votes. So it's not going to be divided. That's how I'm viewing it. But people can also say, okay, because you the ODM UDA you have fronted Millie, with the UDA who are backing Jakakimba, we are going to vote for the opponent. So to my view, just allow people in your region to contest without zoning. That's what I'm trying to bring. If you disallow zoning, Ruto gonna get many votes. But if you allow zoning, of course, we can't decide for them. Ruto gonna get less votes if they are in a coalition agreement.
Okay, thank you so much, Miguda. Makubura, let me come to you also and just to ask you about what is happening, because like you're looking at the leaders who believe that this memorandum of understanding between the president and the Right Honorable Prime Minister is doing well. And as you can see, and also our good friend has talked about Mbadi, keep on mentioning about the presidency of William Ruto and discussing the previous government on how what they did wrong and what they are doing right now. But when you come to the ground, and this one happened to Felix Oduor, aka Jalango, when they were attending the burial of one of the renowned entertainment guru who passed away in Kisumu. And when he was trying to talk about the president, and there are people who met it with the two-term, you know, and we are also seeing about the Sifuna statement and Amisi saying that we will be working out. And also there are those who are also undergrounds who do not want the to come out, who also have the same feeling that this agreement or this memorandum was not the best interest of the party. Do you see that if Sifuna walks out, he will walk with a large chunk of votes, including quite number from the areas that ODM enjoys percentage of fan base?
Okay. Thank you. I don't know whether you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Am I clear? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to say that I think in politics, even one vote really matters. And that is why you're seeing the president is also really trying. He knows that he has lost quite a number of votes. And for that reason, he's trying his level best to ensure that he gets some support from the ODM supporters. If Sifuna leaves, if he lives as an individual, the truth of the matter is that he is a politician and he is a lead elected. There are those people that really trust in him. There are those people that really believes in him. So that's a fact. There are those people who just voted, for example, just because Sifuna was on the ballot. I think that's a fact that we have to accept, because that reminds me of sometimes back, was it 2022 or 2019? Quite a number of I remember during the nomination of ODM, people were looking for the ticket. And then some of them did not get the ticket, and then they lost hope, and they said that mimi sitawahi amuka nikienda kupiga kura. But I saw some of them who went to vote, and they were saying that if it were not this person, I would not have voted. So I think we need to accept that that is a reality in the Republic of Kenya. If Sifuna leaves, is going to, of course, go with some few supporters that he has. If he lives with whoever believes in his narratives, of course, we have quite a number of MPs, not just MPs, but leaders who are opposing the unity between ODM and the government. So it is a fact that if they leave, of course, they're going to leave with their votes. And it is a vote that ODM itself is going to lose. It is a vote that if ODM decides to support the president, the president is not going to get those votes. So let us not, I think we should not just dispute, we should not just throw away, we should just say facts the way it is, because even if he goes with one or two, that one or two in politics is quite a good number of votes. But something else that I wanted to say is that remember, currently ODM is it's one of the parties that are viewed as national parties. But what is happening is that because majority of members that we are seeing having a different issue or having a different thinking, and they're not supporting the fact that ODM is working in the government, some of them are coming from the Western region. And if you remember what was happening that particular day in Kakamega, the meeting that ODM had, remember all those members of parliament, or the senator, they were coming out and saying that mkiguza kijana yetu, hata sisi basi mtakuwa mmetuguza. Mkiguza kijana yetu, basi hata sisi wote tutatoka. And for the first time, we are seeing even politicians who are elected within ODM coming out to just pass that message. I think that's a serious call that should not be ignored. And it clearly says that if truly they're not going to listen to this gentleman, or if truly they're not going to listen to those people who are having a divergent opinion, then there's a possibility that they will walk out. Remember the likes of this member of parliament from Busia. I'm forgetting his name. The brown member of parliament. What is his name? I'm forgetting his name. If you saw, those are the people who have been in politics.
Raphael Wanjala.
Yes, Raphael Wanjala. Yes, he has been in politics and is vied with ODM party for quite some time. And remember, those are the big wigs actually from the Western region when we are talking about ODM. And I followed what was happening in Kakamega that day. And remember, Raphael has been like a sycophant to Raila Amolo Odinga. If you saw Raphael coming out to give such kind of statements, then it really tells you that their stance or their whatever they're trying to bring forth is a serious thing to them. And remember now, ODM is there. If suppose they leave, it's going to be labeled, and actually it will be like a Luo affair. And the coast region, we're also seeing not a good reception over there. Yeah. Go to Kisii, there are 2 presidential candidates, and we are seeing Matiang'i, we are seeing Maraga. All those people are trying to get into ODM support. Remember, the Kisii senator, a vibrant senator, is also coming out to even criticize the stance taken by ODM. And as a senator, he's also taken a position of supporting another candidate who is not within ODM. Somebody like a member of parliament called Kibagendi. Kibagendi is also those members of parliament who have come out. That is from Kisii, also still in Nyanza. In Nyanza. So let us not, let us speak the truth of what is really going to befall ODM. If Raila and his team are not, if they fail to look into those issues, it is not going to be easy for ODM to continue standing. But ODM ni kama itakufa na itabaki either ikue chama cha Wajaluo wadogo, kwa sababu hapa kwa Wajaluo pia tunaona wengine washavuka, wanasema wao wanaenda. So they need to look into those issues. If they don't, ODM is no longer going to stand the test.
Maybe this time round, but remember the issue of like ODM not to stand the test of time is something that I've always been in the political sphere for quite some time, for a longer time. Remember when President William Ruto left, people say that ODM, but like ODM has remained for another 20 years, but maybe this is a different political. But talking about Wanjala, when you look at where Wanjala is, like in Budalangi, that is the toughest place that Wanjala has to play it very cool, because remember, when you look at around that area, this is Budalangi coming to Samia, from there you go to Bumala, then when you are in Bumala, then you'll get that Sega, Bumala, then it goes to Samia, then into the Busia. That area is more or less of 2 tribes. So sometimes it becomes very difficult, especially to win, especially when you go to Busia County. Look at Busia County. Busia County is the only county that has all the faces in terms of in the county assembly. You will get everybody in the Busia County. So it's one of those counties that is quite much different with other counties if you look at it. But now, Baraka, I want also to know your view, especially because yesterday there was the mentioning of Natembeya, which Sifuna mentioned about like talking to Natembeya. He talked to Natembeya, and behind the scene we are also having these rumors of Natembeya facilitating a registration of another political party. Can this one also be a pointing item that makes Sifuna to be very courageous, because he knows that there is that the landing spot is being prepared. There's somewhere that he's going to land at.
Thank you so much. Let me just mention something about the Raphael Wanjala and Forever. I think if I don't know if Mark, the history of Raphael Wanjala. Raphael Wanjala was not in ODM initially. He was in Ford Kenya, and he was one of the critical members who are opposing Raila Odinga's bid to become prime minister when NAC government came into power. And in 2007, he was defeated by Babu Namwamba, who joined parliament in ODM. Remember Babu joining parliament as a young gentleman, and his first day in parliament, he caused a stir by refusing to let Kibaki to be sworn in first, because of he was the president. He did not acknowledge Kibaki as the president. So Wanjala lost election in 2007 for Kenya to Babu Namwamba. And after that, you remember his case with Akinyi in India, when they were arrested in India and he was jailed in India for some time. And it's Raila Odinga who went to India when he was the PM to plead his case. And later on, he was released. And when he came back, he took advantage of the fallout between Raila and between Babu Namwamba and ODM. And he joined ODM and he became a member of parliament again and in 2017, now under ODM. So he has not been that he maybe has not been. He came in ODM because he knew that is the only party that he can use to come back to parliament. But things change. Even if you listen to the likes of Onyonka and Kibangan, it's because they believe that Matiang'i is going to be the presidential candidate. And once Matiang'i becomes a presidential candidate, no politician will be elected in Kisii using a different platform. It's either you are supporting Matiang'i or you will go home. That is how Kisii's vote. They will not vote for anybody, even Simbarati. You will see him joining that party that Matiang'i will have. As long as Matiang'i is the presidential candidate, all of them will come into that outfit, and that just for political survival. It's not that because they believe in anything in combat, just for political survival. And I think we need to encourage strengthening of institutions. Because of strong political parties are very important for democracy. But when we have political parties that are attached to individuals, that's what we've been having in this country for many years. And I think it's unfortunate because our parties are more individual than institutions. And once the party leadership has been associated by individual, in the absence of this individual, they cannot thrive. And you can see that with KANU with the Mzee Moi. When Mzee Moi left, KANU literally died. And KANU has never recovered from that up to now. And you've seen even ODM being called a national party, but he has been associated so much with Raila Odinga that if you divorce Raila from ODM, then ODM automatically collapses because of that individual face, and everything is just surrounded on him as a personality. So I think as a country, we need to start developing parties with the idea of strengthening our democracy. But we'll never strengthen our democracy if we continue having political parties that are more individuals. And Sifuna joining Natembeya, it is just like all of them come from the same region, the same tribe. So I don't think it's something that really it is significant politically, because if people coming from the same region coming together and forming a political party, I don't think it's something that is really significant at all. I will be so much impressed if maybe Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, Gathoni wa Mushomba, Jichopevu from Coast, if they can come together and form a political party, I think that will be so significant, because young people, young leaders, promising leaders coming from different parts of the country, joining hands and forming something that they believe they can ride on to transform the country, to transform the politics of the country, so that they dilute this notion of regionalism or tribal politics. But if they're just coming together, people come from the same region, it's just a continuation of our tribal grouping when we are approaching elections. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barak, for that, for giving us your take. To our viewers, this is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you're watching for the first time, kindly like and subscribe to this channel. It is a way of supporting us. Na sisi hapa tutasema ni asante. Yeah, so maybe something else that I want us to talk about is the Member of Parliament, Honorable Wamushomba from Githunguri. And my question to you, Mr. Barak, is that we've seen Wamushomba is one of those members of parliament who truly supported the president. And remember, it is being said that they're related even with the president, the former president, I mean. But when she was going for this particular seat, she was very particular, and she stood with the president, William Samoei Ruto, and she delivered. Actually, immediately they got into government, they started having issues with the president, and then she left, and she's been opposing the government. She's been doing it seriously, to an extent that before the coming of the Gen Zs, she was actually the first. She was actually the first. She, among others, they were the first people to start opposing all the things that were being done by this government. And so my question to you is, what do you think about her? She's also coming out to showcase some part of politics that is really not known. The people has really not known her so much, being that active in politics. And the other day she's been welcomed in so many places. She has been welcomed with quite a number of members of parliament, and especially those who are opposing the government. Brother Barack, what is your take on this member of parliament? Does, if we are seeing all these conversations of forming political party, she is among them. If we are seeing those people that, are seen as some serious opposition members of parliament, she's the one. And remember where she's coming from. She started opposing the government at a point when the people thought that the Mount Kenya was still with the president, but then after some time, out of partly what she stood for, kulikuja kukaonekana ya kwamba mambo hayakuwa mazuri. What did you say about her future in politics and the recent stance that she has taken as a politician, and where far can she go as a political analyst, Mr. Barack?
Well, Gathoni Wamuchomba stands out as one of the most independent-minded members of parliament from Mount Kenya region. And this is because she was the only UDA member of parliament who opposed Finance Bill 2023. And remember, those days, the UDA was still a darling of so many people. And I think that was the first finance bill under the KK regime. And she opposed that finance bill. Remember, the Azimio members of parliament, most of them also opposed the finance bill. So she was not afraid to be branded as a mole or as someone who is opposing what the majority are supporting. But she stood firm, and I think people who saw that courage say that she was the only man who was coming from Mount Kenya region in terms of members of parliament. And there was a joke that she should be the only one who should be wearing a trouser in that parliament. So I think that has earned him some kind of accolade from people who understand courage, leadership, and also people who understand, who value independent-mindedness, as opposed to sycophancy and hero worshipping, and just say yes sir, yes sir. So from that, I think she stands a chance to go far. But now, from where she come from, I think the people of Mount Kenya, what I think what I give them credit for is that they vote for their representatives based on performance most of the time, even though with few exceptions, but most of the time. And sometimes you might find that you are very vocal out here, but when it comes to election, you find that you lose your seat to another person. And that is why, that informs, if you look at the election of 2017, the governors of Mount Kenya region, only two survived the axe. And that was Mwangi wa Iria of Murang'a and the governor of Martin Wambora of Embu. All other counties, they were sent packing. even those who are very close to the president, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta, were sent packing. So that tells you how the people of Mount Kenya vote. They vote for individuals based on performance. Even you look at the members of parliament. You remember there was member of parliament who was so vocal, like Kabando Wakabando, and they lost election. Yeah. You remember even Mutahi Kagwe, when he was the minister and at the same time was a member of parliament for Mokureini. He lost election after serving only one term. So this shows you that these people, they vote based on performance. So if you are vocal out here and you are not doing your work at your constituency level, then if you are not able to convince the people who elected for you that you've done something that worth being re-elected, then I can assure you will not be re-elected again from Mount Kenya region. But as far as Gathoni wa Mushomba is concerned, I think I've seen her doing something in Githunguri County, and I hope that in Githunguri constituency, sorry, not county, constituency, and I hope that they will give her another chance to come back to parliament and continue offering her role as a legislature oversight and also representation. So I believe that she has a bright future as a female leader from Mount Kenya region. And also, she has also gone to other different places outside Mount Kenya. She has received, she has been given a well reception. And I think that's a good thing to celebrate with, especially because she's a female member of parliament. And as we struggle with the implementing the 2/3 gender rule, I think this is something that is very encouraging. And her counterpart should learn from her that you don't have to hero worship, you don't have to be a sycophant to thrive in politics, but you just have to be a leader of your integrity and a leader who is so independent when it comes to decision making and where you offer your support as a leader.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Barak, for giving us your opinion on that as well. I have also been following the so-called member of parliament from Githunguri, and I think she behaves in a similar way. If you remember how Martha Karua used to behave during those days when Moi was still in power. Remember, Moi even went to a constituency na alikatazwa kuongea na akatoka na, you know, the same things. You remember what happened to Kwa Mushomba as well when the president visited her constituency. She was not even given attention, but she came out bold and courageous, to continue speaking her mind. So it's a stand that some few politicians do have, especially when they believe that matters that they stand for are not really being addressed. And probably, Mount Kenya has produced Martha Karua. If you go to Kambani, produced Charity Kariuki Ngilu. And those are some of the women who really stood firm, and they fought for the rights of the women. They fought for the rights of the people without fear. Not forgetting, of course, the Professor Wangari Maathai, among others. In Nyanza, we also have quite a number, and courtesy of that, we even have one of the governors who is a female from the Nyanza region. So it's a good thing. There's a question here from a good friend, Gypsy Corner, anasema, well, Martha Karua is not saying a word at the moment. Why? I think she's been speaking. Juzi walikuwa na Wamunyoro huko US, and she really spoke. Aliongea kwa nguvu sana, and I remember she came back when she was going to Uganda, I think, to attend to. She's one of the lawyers of the embattled opposition leader of Uganda, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and I remember she came from the US to attend that particular matter. But away from this, something else that I just wanted you to give your opinion on is the issue of rigging. It's a conversation that the people of Kenya are still having, and they're very serious on that particular matter. And remember how elections in the Republic of Kenya, elections are always viewed as a life and death affair. And the process that gets to, that election follows is one of the things that are keenly followed in the Republic of Kenya. And just that actually reminded me of there's a photo, I don't know, there's a video, I don't know whether you saw it. I think I'd shared with you and some of our teams. I don't know whether you saw it. It's a photo of some gentlemen. You remember that? Was it 2020? Was it 2017 when the elections were? When the elections had problems, and
that was 2013.
It was 2013.
Yeah.
So that video really reminded me of how serious elections are taken in the Republic of Kenya, and I wanted to ask you, with this consistent conversation, with this consistent bad way of speaking or bad way of analyzing politics, especially speaking on matters of election, especially coming from the side of allies of the president, starting from the PA of the president, that is Farouk. He's been speaking about rigging, Kamket speaking about rigging, Sudi speaking about rigging. Remember the other day, the women rep from Northeastern was also speaking about the same thing. And, the conversation of rigging is still continuing. They're saying they have what it takes and they cannot. It is impossible for a president to go for one term, and in these times. Remember we got the IEBC team in order just the other day, and remember they're coming at a time when there is really much that they need to do to ensure that elections are handled in a way that the people of Kenya will not question or issues to do with the court, and people coming out to say that they are not satisfied with how things were done. And we're also having a very active opposition led by Wamunyoro, who is the former deputy president. Of course, the likes of Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, among others. My question to you is, as a country, how will we handle this? And remember, the tension is already high. We've seen consistency among the youths, and not just the youths, the people of Kenya coming out to even criticize the government on certain stance that they've taken. And if you tell this kind of, people who are having a divergent opinion that the president has not done much, how will they, for example, reason, and how will they just sit down and hear about this kind of comments? Will this not divide the country? Well, there is also a group of people who believes that the president has performed well and he needs to be given another opportunity. How are we going to handle this as a country, and especially these words coming from the allies of the president, which are, in my view, I would say they are divisive, because it's bringing a very bad impression in the Republic of Kenya. But we know, we've been in Kenya, we've heard of such kind of comments. But remember what Kenya had gone through around 2007. These are things that, if you remember what happened in 2007, the conversation similar to these ones that we are seeing today are the same ones which were, were there. What is your take on how these matters are going to are causing chaos, and how we can avert so that we don't get to a point where will be unable as a country to handle the kind of differences caused by the political class.
Yes, Brother Mark, you know, the leaders who are talking about, I think the politicians who are talking about rigging of elections, they are using that to psych the people who they are addressing, where they are coming from. Because, you know, we have politicians who have not done anything and who are not willing to do anything. They just they want to use sloganeering and romantic language in terms of who is listening, so that those people will see that, oh, this guy has really stood with our president. Let us vote for him. Because if you listen to the audience because when he says that, those people clap for him. And I think the likes of Kamket, the likes of Sudi, the likes of I don't know who else who have said that. I think it's just Kamket, Sudi, and that woman rep for Fajia. So these are people who will not, who are just trying to talk to excite those who are listening to them, because they know that the constitution that we have right now is quite different with what we had in 2020, in 2020, no, in 2007, yeah. And IBC is the one that is going to handle election, and I think every candidate is going to have an equal chance to have their agents at every polling station if they can afford that, if they wish so. And we have the constitution has laid down the procedure. If you have any dispute with the result, especially presidential result, we have 14 days to to petition the Supreme Court and present your evidence there. So I don't think this should be an issue that we should worry much about, because even the people who are talking about this issue, there are people who are their local leaders. Even you can look at their profile, look at their individual profile, and look at what they stand for, look at what they represent. Yeah, because I think we want to kill a mosquito using a hammer, and we will end up breaking so many things, even when we have succeeded in killing a mosquito. So as a country, I think there's a phrase that usually say that we are majoring on the minors and minoring on the majors, and that's our biggest problem. I think we should just major on the majors and minor on the minors. So when Kamket speaks to a group of Pokot elders or youth in his constituency, and we make it as a big issue, and he knows that he cannot influence anything of such kind to happen. When Sudi speaks to his people in Kapseret, yeah, he just want to excite them, and so that they can feel that he is also a very big person. He can influence presidential election. While we know very well that who has the role of managing presidential election, and how election laws are laid down. And from the day of voting to the day of declaring the result to the day of swearing the president, this constitution stipulate each and every step. And so I don't think really, and maybe when people like the country start speaking this language, I think that's now when we start getting worried. And let me just mention that in 2007, there was no leader who said that election will be rigged. Election was just rigged. Nobody said that. Nobody threatened to rig election, by the way. Election was just rigged, point blank. And after rigging, those who rigged election say that as long as the president has already been sworn in, there is nothing much you can do. Just wait for the next election. And that is how people ended up hacking each other because of those who mishandled, those who bungled that election. But remember, the ECK was not that strong the way IBC is. And the law that established ECK is very different from the law that has established IBC. And the powers that IBC has right now, you cannot compare with the powers that ECK had then. So I think matters of election, even the IBC made it very clear that politicians with their loud mouths should keep off the issues of election integrity. And just now on away from whatever Kamket said, it is important for us to understand that perception is very important in politics. So if they create a perception that election is going to be rigged, even if Ruto, by chance, he wins fairly, people will believe that election has been rigged because they've created that perception. So I think it is important for him to call his people to order. He should call his dogs to order and tell them to keep off the issues of 2027 elections. I think that is going to do him more good than bad, because they continued to claim that they can rig election. It's going to create a perception that they are actually going to rig election, and that will really dent the credibility of 2027 election. And I think they are also giving the people, their opponents, an opportunity or a platform to claim that elections are not going to be fair, therefore preparing the ground for them to reject the outcome if it will not be in their favor. So I think advisors of the press should advise him to call his troops to order and tell them to keep off that kind of talk, simply because it's going to create a perception and it's going to dent the credibility of 2027 election. That's my take.
Okay, thank you. Allow me to read some few comments here. Of course, Gypsy Corner is saying, well, the government supporters and some MPs are not hiding about the advance rigging. Hata akienda ODM, will not die. Others will come and go. So I don't think it's an impact with that. Okay. Thank you so much, good friend Emmanuel Motari. And if you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe. This is Brother Benson Media. We do have this kind of conversations. And maybe if you've subscribed, you'll be notified so that, you can always be part of the conversation. Mr. Barak, maybe I'll just give you a chance to maybe give your last remarks. And before I do, the games are going on. I'll give you a chance. I know I was forgetting, you're a serious footballer and you really follow football with a lot of passion. Maybe you can tell us what happened yesterday. I saw that the president promised the players 1 million each, and they delivered. I'm quite sure, and I think I saw something that they've been given 1 million each. Maybe what is coming up in the field of football?
Thank you so for that. And before I respond, let me just agree with the comment from Emmanuel that it is true, individuals will walk out and in of political parties and they will continue, because political parties are meant to last long and not and even serve different generation, and not based on individuals. And we've been saying this for many years, many times, that political parties are very important institutions when it comes to managing democracy in different countries, nurturing democracy, growing democracy, and advancing human rights. So I agree with you on that. So you asked about the football. Yesterday played Democratic Republic of Congo, and I think if you watched that game, if you are, I believe maybe you watched or you didn't, but those who watched will tell you that Kenya fought so hard to get that win. It was a hard-fought win, and I think the coach has a lot of work to do, because remember, we are facing Morocco on Sunday, and Morocco are the defending champions, and I think they defeated Angola so easily with 2-0. So we have a very tough opponent. Apart from DRC, we have Angola on Thursday, and then Morocco on Sunday, then Zambia the following Sunday on 17th. So I think McCarthy and his technical bench, they have a huge task ahead of them, because the kind of football that Kenya played yesterday, it was not really, apart from the win that we really celebrated, but they were not really inspiring hope that they can go very far if they don't change. Because winning 1-0, and DRC lost most of the chances. They created most chances, and unfortunately did not score any of the chances. But Kenya, we celebrated the win. But if you are a critical observer of football, if you understand football, you'll say that we are really struggle to get that win. And the coach need to inspire confidence in the players. And even in terms of creating chances, we did not create much chances. And we have problems in taking dead balls. There was no, we had a free kick just outside the 18. But how it was taken, it was unfortunate. That one I can tell you. So I think the coach needs to prepare his team well for the next game and take each game at a time. That way, I think they can go to the second. Because we only need to finish second. We don't even need to finish first to go to the second round. We only need to finish second. And I think the president also did a very good thing by giving the morale, money. Pesa ni sabuni ya roho. So when you are promised $1 million each, and I know these are local players, I believe that most of them are really struggling financially. So vile waliahidiwa milioni moja kwa kila mchezaji, I think that also was a morale booster. And since they were, I believe I read today in the news that they were given that money today, and all the players were given, all the 17 players plus the 15 technical bench, everybody received their 1 million. And I think that's something that is so encouraging, because these players, they need something to boost their morale. These are local players, and most of them are struggling because they go into football just to earn a living. And even these players, the teams that they are playing for, I believe some teams are not even paying them salary, a good salary, and others that are paying salary, they are paying that salary after a very long time. So I think it's a morale booster, and that will be like a springboard to them when they are facing Angola on Thursday. I just hope that they're not going to be carried away with that 1 million and forget the mission that is to win the trophy. And by good luck or by good chance, if they win the trophy, I can assure you the lives of those young men will be changed forever because of the kind of monetary gift that they're going to receive. Remember, the trophy itself is 3 million USD. That is the trophy itself. The president has promised 600 million. Songo has promised 400 million. That's 1 billion Kenya shillings. And I know that other organizations will also come in once they keep advancing to the next level. I believe that the gifts are going to become coming, because it is the first time we are participating in this tournament, and it's also the first time we are hosting it. And if they can go up to the finals, I think it's going to be a big thing. And since Kenya is hosting the finals, I think it's going to be a history making if they can go up to the finals and win the trophy. So I just want to encourage, to appeal to Kenyans. Let us put our political difference aside. Let us support Harambee Stars. Let us, even if you're not going to the stadium, let us support them. Let us encourage them, because they are carrying the flag of Kenya. Let them fly that flag high. And the philanthropists, come on with monetary gifts, come on with a huge kind of gifts. Give these boys, and let these boys continue flying our flag so high. Yes, thank you so much, and I rest my case.
Last remarks?
Last remarks from today's session, I think let us just observe what is happening in our political parties. And I usually insist that we have a duty as a country to nurture our democracy by building strong political parties. So let us support political party discipline. Let us not encourage politicians to behave in a manner that does not encourage democratic institution, that does not encourage resilience in our democracy, because we need, let's assume that we don't have any political party at all. Will we even be proud of our democracy? Yeah. Why are we always mentioning strong political parties in other countries? And yet we have ours here that we can build as a society so that others can also be coming here to benchmark. Can you imagine that we are the strongest, we are the regional, we are a regional hegemon. But when it comes to political parties, we go to benchmark in other countries on how they are running their political parties. Can you imagine that NRM of Uganda can teaching Kenya political parties on how to run a vibrant political party, even CCM here in Tanzania. So it means that we have not been keen to build strong political parties as vehicles of sustaining democracy and ensuring that our democracy is vibrant. So my appeal is that let us build strong institutions that are going to overcome even the times of turmoil, and they're going to grow resilient mechanism to ensure that they overcome such times that the one that we are facing right now. Not grow democracy by always jumping out of one political party to another because maybe you are serving your own political interest. That is my last remarks. Thank you so much, all our viewers. Gypsy Corner, thank you so much. Emmanuel Makumotare, and all those who joined in the comment section. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barack, for giving us your take.
Before I go, let me say something about, I've seen the Gypsy Corner's comment that clarify the African games going on, not to confuse many games are not African. Yeah, that's true. I think, by the way, I've seen this discussion on many platforms. And let me just say something that CHAN is it's a competition for local-based players, not players who are playing outside their country. Remember, we had a player as Kenya who was signed by Yanga of Tanzania and automatically was disqualified from participating in the CHAN because CHAN is specifically for local-based players. But Africa Cup of Nations is for all the players who are playing outside and locally. So depending with the capacity of the player. But CHAN is only for local-based players. That's why I am very happy that the president came in with those monetary gifts, because these players are, most of them, if not all of them, are really struggling financially. And I believe this kind of gifts is going to help them, even to transform their lives. And you heard them asking the president to consider giving them affordable housing because of their current situation. So I think that if they continue winning, they're going to inspire the president even to allocate them affordable. And if you look at it is good. Let them benefit from that because they have talent and they can really transform their life using that talent. I really support them. And I believe they support what the president is doing to support these players. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Gypsy Corner is saying, thanks, Barack, for clarifying, because not many knows this, and that's the fact. Thank you so much, Barack, for giving us a good analysis on matters of politics and as well as matters to do with football. To our viewers, this is Beta Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you're new, kindly like and subscribe to this channel. It is a way of supporting us and we will really appreciate. I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to Gypsy Corner, to Emmanuel Motara, I also saw Shi Mariam, among others. Those of you who engage us, I also saw Brenda Obedi. Those of you who engage us at the comment section, we really appreciate. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us and to engage us and to give us your take or your comment. May God bless you. Allow me now to take this opportunity to thanks for the politics analysis, Barack, always on point. Thank you so much, Gypsy Corner, for those good comments. And we really appreciate. And if you are watching for the first time, kindly subscribe. And if you are already a subscriber, kindly like, and we will really appreciate. I want to take this opportunity to say once again, thank you to Gypsy Corner and to everyone who engages at the comment section. We really appreciate. I now want to wish you all a blessed night, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. See you again tomorrow.